we've made it, and we have a wonderful speaker with us. Her name is Kim Stokes, and we are just excited to, or doctor, excuse me. I want to say doctor because we were in the, we were in the program, and she has graduated this past May, so we will call her doctor. And we're excited to have her with us today. She's going to talk about digital learning in that space. She works within the Cool office. And a lot of times that, being in a digital learning space, being online, especially like we all are right now, that's just intense. And so our job here with the university is to partner with you all to make sure you have the best success. So before I started out with anything else this semester, I said, all my students are online. How are they navigating? Majority of you, I've talked to you one-on-one and you're like, some classes you're like, I got it. I could live online. Some of them you're like this professor, or maybe it's just me. I don't know, you're saying that to yourself. So today is the day to ask questions. Today is the day to listen. Today is the day to have, if you have any comments or thoughts, let's share them in this space, because that is how we're going to grow and learn from one another. Alex, I don't see your face. That's how we're going to grow and learn from one another. And we want to make sure that we're interacting. If there's anything that's come up and it may be too much for this dialogue, I'm sure Kim will be willing to work with you if, it's something within her wheelhouse. But just make sure if there's anything while she's talking, think about stuff that's going on in your class. Think about things that are going on while you're trying to log in, or how you can do shortcuts. You're curious of those. Make sure you're asking those questions. But without further ado, I'll pass it to our lovely Dr. Stokes and let her get started.
Thank you so much. Ms. Williams, is it okay if I record this session?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, everybody. As Ms. Williams said, I'm Dr. Kimberly Stokes, and I am an instructional designer and training specialist at the Center of Online Learning here at Columbus State University. So our department, what we do is we are faculty support for our learning management system, Cougar View. And what that means is I work with faculty, helping them set up their courses on Cougar View, and making sure that the course is designed well and structured well so students can learn from that course. I have been an online instructor for 12 years now. I started out in 2008 with Georgia Virtual School. I don't know if anybody's ever taken a Georgia Virtual School class, but if you're in social studies, you may have had me as an instructor. Georgia Virtual School is the state of Georgia's online high school program. And so what we do is we teach high school and now middle school students. Any public school student can take up to 2 Georgia Virtual School classes for free as part of their school day. So I started in 2008 doing that, and I was also at the same time in the K through 12 classroom where I taught middle school, and was doing the online part-time. Really got interested in it and transitioned out of the K through 12 classroom into educational technology. I worked at 2 different school districts here in this area, one at Muskogee County, Spencer High School as the educational technology coach there, and also in Randolph County in Cuthbert, Georgia. I was the technology coach there, helping teachers integrate technology into their classes and lessons. And then about 5 years ago, I transitioned to higher education as the instructional designer and did more double duty in the doctorate program, as Ms. Williams mentioned. And so, like she said, in May, I graduated with my doctorate in curriculum and instruction. Yes, and I will tell you, it doesn't feel like you think it will feel. At the end of the day, you're just glad it's over. But it does feel good to see doctor in front of my name. It's not anything that I ever in a million years thought would happen. I thought I would probably just be a high school social studies teacher for the rest of my life, but life has a way of doing that, taking you on different journeys and turns. And so, but I'm very glad to be here today, because when Ms. Williams approached me about this topic, asking if I could talk with students about how to navigate the virtual world, and particularly STEM students, I said absolutely, because I think there's kind of a misconception that if you're STEM, if you're computer science or you're math, or you're more inclined to be technologically savvy, that you know all about online learning. And that is just really not true. A lot of students, regardless of their background, they struggle with online learning, and it's not all their fault. Sometimes it is because maybe the course is not well designed, and the instructors have struggling communicating with the students. But that's what I'm here to talk about today, is what you can do as a student to help yourself in learning online. Okay, so I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. And give me 1 second. I just want to make sure I get the right thing here. Even as educational technology people struggle sometimes. I think this is the one I want right here. Okay. And hopefully you are now seeing LSAM, Scholars, Navigating STEM in the Virtual World. You guys can just give me a head nod if you're seeing this.
Good.
Yay, okay, all right, that sounds good. So I'll go ahead and get started here. I'll start off by asking a question, and you'll have to forgive me here because, let's see, oh boy, am needing to find my polling. Okay, there it is. We're on a roll here. I have a poll here, and just real quickly, I'd like to ask you, hopefully you can see the question. Students learn just as much in an online STEM college course as they do in a traditional classroom. Is that true or is that false? And you know, we are kind of on a time constraint, but you can take your time and answering this if you want to think about it. So it's asking if students learn just as much in an online STEM class as they do in a traditional setting.
Kanisha, could you click, it was a poll, you could click the answer. Did you click it?
Thanks.
Do you think that's true or false? So we got about 2 more. Has everybody answered who wants to answer, I guess? We good? Speak now, forever hold your peace. We got one. Is it you, Ms. Williams? Have you answered?
Yeah, I answered. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think somebody was trying to. Kanisha, were you trying to figure something out?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're all good. Okay. Well, most of you answered false. As you can see, there's the results. Okay. You might be interested to know that actually the answer is true. And I got this from a research article that was put out by Cornell University. It was a study that was conducted in Russia, okay, but it was 300 students. The researchers put out 3 different model plans. One was fully online, the other was hybrid, and then the third was face-to-face at a local university. And they looked at these students, and these students' final exam scores did not differ significantly. Online students were slightly less satisfied with their course experiences than the face-to-face students, but there was no difference in the learning outcomes. of these students. So at the end of the day, the students who took a STEM online course online learned just as much, according to this research study, as students who were in the face-to-face class, which it even surprised me because there are often biases, I guess, or pre-existing attitudes, if you will, about online learning. And that's the Cornell University, sorry. There we go. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about what makes a successful online student. And there's several things here, and we're going to go over a lot of these. I think the very first thing students should try to do when they enter into an online class is just to be open-minded. And when I say that, I mean be open-minded about sharing yourself, your experiences, your life, your work, your educational goals, because all of these experiences are part of the learning process. A lot of times introverted people will take an online class because they can kind of, they're not as comfortable going into a big university classroom, the stadium seating and whatnot. That can be overwhelming or intimidating for anybody. You can kind of feel like you get lost in the shuffle in those types of environments. But with online learning, students are able to, gosh, let's see, can I admit this person? Didn't somebody just pop in? Did y'all hear that? Let's see. Admit, there we go. All right. But the online environment allows for a lot of communication through writing and also just being able to have the time to think out your thoughts in what you're writing. So a lot of individuals enjoy expressing themselves in that way. A lot of students enjoy online learning because it gives them time to reflect on information before they respond to something. But in all, the online environment should be open and it should be friendly. Speaking of communicating through writing in the virtual classroom, nearly all the communication is written, and it's critical that students feel comfortable in expressing themselves in writing, which is another reason that you should probably, think about being open. Sometimes students have limited writing abilities, which can be addressed before, part of the online experience happens. And so if you're struggling with this, and a lot of people are, I was when I first started, of course, when I first started college, it was a very long time ago, but we have resources here on campus with the Tutoring Center that can help you. I know right now, and I didn't mention this before, but I teach here at the university for the History and Geography department. I teach a fully online class. And mainly what I have in my class is freshmen and sophomores. And one of the things that I do, and I know a lot of faculty that do this, is I create short writing assignments to try to take a temperature on students and see, how they're coming along with their writing, how they're adjusting with their writing, because it's a lot easier to address problems when there are short passages than waiting for, the one research paper and then realizing that students are struggling with that. It's important when you're an online student to be self-motivated and self-disciplined. There is a lot of freedom and flexibility with online learning. That's one of the reasons I like teaching online, is because, a lot of this I can do asynchronously. However, with that freedom comes a lot of responsibility. It takes commitment and it takes discipline to keep up with the flow of the process. You should always be willing to speak up if problems arise. I hope that you feel comfortable reaching out to your instructor if you're having problems in your class or you're struggling, I hope all faculty are open to you coming in and talking to them. I am with my students. I mean, I'll do whatever I can to help them succeed. Now, you know, as long as they're doing their part, I'm going to do what I can to help them along. But it's important. Your instructor won't know that something is wrong or that you're struggling if you don't say something to them. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with just reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, you know, this is happening. I'll give you an example. Before classes started, there were the hurricanes, you know, the double hurricanes that were coming in, because it's 2020, and why wouldn't we have a double hurricane in this year? I had one of my students reach out to me and say, yeah, no classes are starting next week, but I might not be able to get started on time because I'm having to evacuate. And I thought, of course, you know, of course I'm going to be sympathetic to that, you know, but I was really proud of her for even reaching out to me, because some students maybe wouldn't, you know, they would just think, well, they're not going to let me, you know, do what I need to do to take care of myself and my family, so maybe I, you know, should just drop. So please reach out to somebody. There are a lot of people working on your behalf here, whether it be your advisor, and I'm sure the folks here at, do you call it LSAMP? LSAMP. You know, so please reach out to people. All right. Moving on, next slide. Oh, okay, there it goes. All right.
I'm just gonna, somebody wasn't there.
Oh. Okay, so how do we get started online here, at least at Columbus State University? Have most of you guys taken an online class? Just do a thumbs up or something like that. Okay, well, one of the things that I want to show you, if you don't know how to get to Cougar View, I'll just tell you that you go through My CSU, and when you log into My CSU, on the left side panel, gray side panel, there is a link to Cougar View, and that's how you enter our online learning system. Okay, so I'm gonna show you real quick. Can you guys see, hopefully you can see my Cougar View page? Somebody can just give me a thumbs up.
Good.
Yeah, okay. I'll just show you my history class right here, and I'm gonna change this to a student. Okay, so one of the good things that we did at the Center of Online Learning in the last couple of years is we changed the format of what Cougar View looks like. So if you've been here for a while, then you probably don't know this, but all of your courses should look about like this. They should have this kind of picture up top and an announcements widget. That's what we call this little box, and some different links on the side here. We're trying to have continuity across classes, just because it's easier for the user, the student. It's easier for you to kind of navigate and know from one semester to another how to get to different things. You should log in, if you're taking an online class, you should log in every day. You should also be checking your CSU email every day. You never know when an instructor is going to email you. I personally use the announcements widget a lot. I post weekly announcements here. I have another question for you guys. Hold on one second. Let me go to, I hope this is right. It is not. Let's see. Is it this one? No. Hold on. Give me a second. Let's see. There's this one. Okay. So there are two different types of ways of learning, even online, face-to-face, or hybrid. When I talk about face-to-face, that's your traditional classroom, where you go into a class and you sit down and the instructor comes in and you're taught that way. A hybrid is partly online and partly face-to-face. So what will happen there is you might meet one night a week face-to-face, but the remainder of the time you're doing your work online. That's called a hybrid. And then there's the fully online, where you never see your instructor in face-to-face, or don't have any required seat time face-to-face. So we have a couple of terms here, asynchronous and synchronous. Have you guys heard these terms before? You have? Yeah. Well, I have a little poll here, and we haven't gone over much of this, but I'm going to launch it. So what's the difference between asynchronous and synchronous? I have here, did not write that question very well, did I? Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to ask is, are these two, do these two definitions here make sense? And really, now that I'm looking at it, you can't really tell me this, but that's okay, I guess. Asynchronous, and they're actually backwards here, and I did that on purpose. The difference between the two is an asynchronous class is what we call different time, different place. And I can go back to my, sorry, that was a very bad poll. Asynchronous right here is different time, different place. That's what I'm teaching right now. A fully online class is what they call asynchronous, because I never have any required seated time with my students. I post work on Mondays. Students are able to go into Cougar View, see what the assignments are, and then they are able to complete the work. I'll show you right here. We go into content, and this is our unit that we're working on, and this was the week before. So they come in on Monday and they see exactly what they're supposed to do. They see the assignments, and then the assignments are due on Sunday. So it opens on Monday and they have a week to do the assignments. That's a completely asynchronous course. Now, synchronous is your face-to-face or your seated time, because it's happening at the same place at the same time right here. Synchronous, same time, same place. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 10:15, you have your class and you go and you sit and your instructor comes in, and that is considered synchronous. Now, to confuse things even more, you could have synchronous sessions in an online class. And I do this in my class. I call them live learning sessions. And what they are is on Wednesdays at 7:30 in the evening, I bring all my students, or schedule a Zoom meeting. It's like Zoom, it's not Zoom. And I allow students to come in, and we do just what we're doing right now. They can interact with me in real time. They can ask me questions. I go over a little piece of content. They're not required to do this, and I don't require my students to do this because my class is fully online. So the student, when they registered for my class, they never had any expectation of having to be somewhere at a certain time and interact with me or anybody else. But I hold these synchronous sessions just as maybe a checkpoint throughout the week. They're recorded, and so if somebody wants to go back at a later time and listen to the recording, I allow, they can do that. And you can see I have my recorded sessions right here. A lot of online instructors will do that. They will have that one opportunity throughout the week where they do what they call a synchronous session. The other term I wanted to make sure that you knew, because sometimes these terms are kind of thrown around a little bit and people think that you maybe know what they mean, and the reality is that you don't, because I didn't know what an LMS system was before I started teaching online, but it's the learning management system. That's the industry term. That's what it's called. We here at CSU, we call our learning management system Cougar View, okay, because, well, we're the Cougars, okay? And the View, as you can see, it's an acronym for something: virtual instruction, e-learning, and something else, I can't remember. But different institutions through the University System of Georgia, who's the governing body for our institution, they also use an LMS, and then a lot of times they will name it after their mascot as well, okay? One thing I wanted to make sure that you know about is how to get help, technical help in your online class if you need it. So I'm going to go back to my class right here. And if you have an online class and it's in Cougar View, yours will look similar, at least the setup will. Notice over here on the right side, I have some academic resources that I can click on if you need to, library, Galileo, but also down here, you have some Cougar View resources that you can click on, like the student guide, which a lot of people are not familiar with the student guide or they're unsure. If you click on this, this will take you to a page that will give you a lot of information about how to work Cougar View. If you're not familiar with how to upload assignments or how to attach an assignment to an assignment submission folder, or how to post to the discussion, you actually have that information there in this link. Now, hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers because this is what we ask faculty to do from our department at the Center of Online Learning. Hopefully, at some point in the beginning of the semester, they've created an activity that will allow you to practice using some of these assessment tools before the stakes are really high and you have to upload something and then you realize you don't know how. But if they don't, know that these different types of guides are here for you. Also, if you ever need help, know that you can always go to the help desk. And this is on this page also. If these guides are not your thing, you don't want to look at guides, you don't want to look at instructions, okay, you got to talk to somebody, because a lot of people are like that. I'm like that sometimes. I want to get somebody on the phone and I want them to walk me through something. Our friends at the help desk will do that. And like I said, my department, we help faculty set up the courses and navigate Cougar View, but students, they go to the help desk for that. I feel like I've been talking a lot. Are there any questions? You might have a
Yes,
question.
I have a question.
Yes, how can I help you?
So on the student guide, is there a way to like set up notifications? Because sometimes I do miss assignments.
Yes, they have a guide here, probably in one of these. I think it's probably here. And one of the things I like about doing these types of workshops is if we don't have something, then we can make sure that we get something for you. I can show you real quick your notifications. This is your notification center right up here. If you click on your name and click right here, this will help you set up your notifications. Now, I'm impersonating me, so I don't know how this is going to work. You can do a lot of different things. You can put your mobile phone in here. You can add an email address here. And then there's different types of notifications that you can check off here. But also in a few minutes, I'm going to show you, because most of us probably do have a mobile device, I'm going to show you an app that you can use with Cougar View, and it works really well.
I really like the notifications part, because I'm finishing up the doctoral program here, and when I was in the beginning of the program, I was anxious, like most students, to get my grades. So I added my cell phone number to it, and anytime they, you can, where she's scrolling down, anytime those things pop up, you will get a notification for it. So I definitely, if you haven't done that, I definitely would.
Right, and remember the way I did this, I came here to my name, and this is, I set the notifications this way. And so when you put this mobile number in here, and then you check grade item released right here, and probably grade item updated also, that's that. It'll probably send you a text, an SMS to that mobile number, or you can click this column over here and it'll send you an email. But, and I've done this before, it's great to use the notifications, but as an instructor, a lot of times I have a lot of students because I teach a core course. Sometimes I make a mistake, which this is also good. I tell my students to check their grade. If they turn something into me, go back and they check their grade. And you should too. If you've turned something in, I mean, if you do a quiz, don't turn around an hour later and email your professor and say, where's my grade? Because I've had that happen too. But give it a few days. I clearly lay out in my syllabus what students can expect from me. And as I have said, we are faculty support for Cougar View. Not that every faculty member has to use us, but we have a syllabus template here, and everything you see here is part of the template. And we have expectations, okay? And in the syllabus, we do advise faculty that it's a good idea to let students know, you know, the expectations for when you'll have things graded. You know, I mean, that's something good, but there's nothing wrong. If you've turned something in, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, I turned in that paper 2 weeks ago. I don't see my grade yet. Can you give me can you give me an idea? Now they may come back and say no, but at least you have a record that you did reach out to them. I don't think a lot of faculty will do that, but okay. That's a great question. Thank you. I hope that answered that. Anybody else have a question real quick before I move on from Cougar View?
I had a question about the app, but you said you was gonna go over that later.
Yeah, I'm going to show it to you in just a few minutes with the other tools I'm going to.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I mentioned earlier that most of the communication in your course is going to be written. And it's very important that you are able to write well not only when speaking to your instructor, but also when speaking to your professor. Now, Ms. Williams and I have been friends for a good while, and she and we have each other's cell phone number, and sometimes we text or we communicate through Google Meet. And when we are talking to each other there, we talk like we're on text. I say, hey girl, what's up? That kind of thing. But in official correspondence, including this workshop, yes, I would not address her in that way. And this is something that I have realized that a lot of students, and like I said, I teach a lot of freshmen and sophomores, so they're just coming out of high school. They're just learning to be college students. But it's important that you address your instructor, your professor, by their appropriate name. It could be professor, it could be, Ms. or Mr. But don't call your professor by their first name, and certainly don't call them Miss Kim or Miss Lisa. I was Miss Kim when I keep the nursery at church, okay, but not when I am teaching you U.S. history. And that's just really important. And you will find out that getting your college degree, getting your master's, if you go on to graduate school, or getting your doctorate, your PhD, it's a lot of work. And although I don't expect my family to call me Dr. Stokes, but I certainly expect my students to call me Dr. Stokes. Is how I sign every email, because I worked hard for that, and it's not done in vain. Okay, so it's very important and sometimes hard to keep our professional lives separate from our personal lives. But as students, it's very important. It just puts you in a better light with your professors and others that you deal with. So you want your communication, regardless of what it is, whether it's with your professor or with another student, you want it to be clear, so your fellow students and your professor can understand whatever point you're trying to make. You want it to be complete. You want to include all the parts to the question. You want to address every component. This is not the time, and I get this a lot, especially in my discussion questions. Students are talking to each other, and it's like, and maybe they are texting their discussion from their phone, but you know, that's not the time to say you are, the letters you are for your and things like that. Don't do that. You want it to be concise. Don't write, just like you don't want to write 3 or 4 pages, right, in a paper. Don't go on and on and on with your rambling. Make sure your work is concise. And it's concrete. It's, you know, don't bore us, get to the chorus kind of thing. Make sure you're just answer the question. Don't go all the way, or don't put a lot of fluff in it. Emphasize your main points. This may come in the method of sharing images or tables or charts. However you can accomplish this, make sure you have, you know, a good structure and that it makes sense to the reader. Also, make sure you're just using good etiquette. You're respecting the person that you're communicating with. It's always a good idea to reread your post, even maybe even get somebody else to read it prior to sharing it with other people. If you think it sounds curt or not so nice, don't send it. Okay, and I have to really watch my students because it's U.S. history, and so we talk about some topics that might be a little bit sensitive, which I encourage students to do. I want them to be able to formulate their own ideas and thoughts, but it's so important that we are respectful to one another. Just remember who you are communicating to. Keep in mind the recipient of your message. If you, regardless of who you're posting to, you want to make sure you're using complete sentences. You know, if you're texting to a friend, then, you know, that can, may not apply. Also proofread. And you know what? You're never going to get away from somebody telling you to proofread your work as long as you're in academia, because even the last draft of my dissertation, I had my committee members look at me and say, did you proofread this? Because we're finding errors, you know. You cannot proofread enough, and it's very important for you to do that.
And Kim, I'm going to share a resource inside that I use. I'm dyslexic, so sometimes I write things backwards or I do different things. And so I have to have extra support, and that's okay, right? And so what I use is, and I'm going through the process that Kimberly went through with the dissertation, and I use Natural Reader. And so when you go in there, you click it, you copy and paste your sentence. And you guys can copy and paste that link, and then you put it in that place. It reads it back to you out loud. Now, I did that for, it reads it out loud to you. You can go fast. If you know what you said, it can go fast, or it can go slow. And then I'll read it. I'll say, oh, I use there instead of there, or, you know, or it'll say it how it's supposed to be said. And then you're like, oh, wait, I caught something. And one more thing I wanted to say too, I know when we talked about this presentation, emojis or any form of just short term, and you and I may have that relationship, like I've taught students where I know them personally. We may go to Bible study together, and so they know me as, you know, Miss Williams in the class, but Jay outside of, you know, at church, right? But at the end of the day, when we're in different spaces, it doesn't matter. You want to make sure that you're communicating that, because you never know who that person is connected to or how they're going to have relationship with you. So just remember those things. But if you need support with that, that's okay. And that's why I have you all send me your email. And if you can afford Grammarly, you know, use Grammarly. I'll put it in there too. Grammarly is another tool.
I use the free version of Grammarly.
For sure. Yeah, you use the free version, or, you know, whatever, but yes, use those things to your advantage, because when it comes time to write and edit your stuff, even in research, Dr. Frazier is one of the most beautiful writers I've seen, and she's a biologist. She deals with viruses all the time, and she teaches biology. But if you read how she wrote this grant, you read how she writes when she does stuff on you guys' behalf, it's eloquent. And it's because she's had to practice to do it. So just wanted to add that too. And I'll add the link in there too.
Absolutely. And you know, you might not like writing. I never did. I always would rather, you know, do a video or something like that. But the sad truth is you only get better at writing by doing it and writing. But one thing I wanted to show you, no. I don't know if it's here. Hold on a second. Maybe it's not there. Maybe it is account settings. There is a there is a dyslexic font that you can choose here. Did you know about that? I'll have to find it. Let's see. I'll make a note. Because I'm not seeing it right now. But it is for people who are dyslexic, and if that's you. And you know, a lot of people who need services, unfortunately, they don't self-identify. They don't go to the Center of Accommodations and Access, which is, we have a link to that right here. So if you're struggling with something, you need extra time, or, you know, you have a disability, whether it's documented or not, you know, go, because the help is there. Also, I don't know if you're aware, but we have ReadSpeaker on all of our, in Cougar View. It's embedded in Cougar View. Yeah. So every Cougar View page will be read to you. If you just click on this little.
Welcome to U.S. history.
Okay, so you get the picture. Okay. So that's on every page in Cougar View. But certainly if you are struggling with anything, go to the Center of Accommodation and Access. That's what they're there for. That's why they pay those people, is to help people who need help. And what they will do is, I know I've gotten them emails from them, and they don't tell me who the student is. They just say, you have somebody who, you know, well, if they need extra time, they have to tell me, because then I have to go into quizzes and add extra time. But if you need to make sure that, if the faculty member needs to make sure that all the videos have captioning, because, you know, somebody can't hear or is visually impaired, you know, they'll make sure that the faculty member knows that. So if you need that help, go to them, go get it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going real quick. A few things more about communication. Now, in the online class, like I said, you're going to do a lot of communication through writing. I want to show you something that when I found this, it was a game changer for me. And I've been working with D2L for quite a while. But in the discussion board, here's my discussion right here. And so if I click on this, I don't think it's going to show me anything, because I'm not, well, maybe it'll show me, hold on a second, because I've got it set to where the students have to post something first before they can respond to other people. Okay, do most of your discussion boards look like this? This is confusing to me, because I see Bobby Joe here did something, but who did she respond to? This whole look is confusing to me. This is called Reading View, okay? But, and you can do this, if you go up here on your discussions to settings, and you change this, does it allow you to change it? Then you'll have to tell your instructor to do that. I thought it allowed the student to do this. Hold on one second. Settings. Discussions. Yeah. it's here, and then account settings. You can change this to grid view. And then save. And so when you go to discussions, don't make a liar out of me. And it still did it. I have to do it as an instructor. Hold on. I like this because what this does is I got some books here. Changes the way. Now see, I see Alexis right here made a post. Nobody has responded to her. Trinity here has made a post. Serenity and Alexis responded to them. It's that tiered view. This makes so much more sense to me. So when you're looking at something, it's easier to see who posted something and who responded to it. When I found that out, it was completely different for me. So I wanted to point that out to you. We talked about private messages and emails, also assignments, papers, and exams. It's very important that you know, you use that proper grammar and write well. Just the netiquette in general, just how you behave in the online class. Most people will have a netiquette page in their course, but the golden rule is don't do or say anything online that you wouldn't do and say offline. Okay. You know, that's a common problem with people. They're hiding behind a computer so they feel like they can say or do whatever they want to do, and that hurts people. So just don't do that. You're going to feel better about yourself if you don't. Believe me, you will. If your device fails, okay, so you're in your online class and your device fails. Actually, this was my next poll. So let me go here and see if this will. No. Okay, I'm going to do this poll right here. All right, if you're in an online class and your internet goes out, you should email your professor and ask for an extension. Call the internet company and yell at them until they get the problem fixed. Forget the assignment and take a 0 for it. Have a backup plan. Don't call the internet company because they might like cut you off for good. Now, if it goes on and they still don't get it fixed, you might take that course of action. As you guys are answering this, I think everybody answered. Everybody answered. Okay, I'll share the results. Yay, must be. Yeah, you need to have a backup plan. Now, if you're in a fully online class, this is what I tell my students. You signed up to take this class online. I give my students plenty of time. They have a week to do their assignments. It opens on Monday and closes on Sunday, okay? During that week, I tell my students, you need to plan out when you're gonna sit down and do my work and then get it done. Now, my class and the assignments, or that week's assignments, are due at 11:59 on Sunday. Now, this should have been a poll question. When do you think most students start working on my work?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock Sunday night. 11:45 Sunday night. And guess what? The internet goes out and the problems and the storm comes through and knocks the power out, okay? So what is the expectation? And I tell my students this. The expectation is you will get in your car and go somewhere that has internet, whether it's Chick-fil-A, go sit in their parking lot, or go to the public lot, wherever, okay? Because part of being an online student is planning out your course of action for when things happen. I don't take late work in my class, period. Don't take it. But I give a lot of work. So if they miss something and they get a 0, then we can just redirect the next week, and it doesn't tank their grade or anything. But if you have decided that you're going to do things online, have a backup plan, whether it's a backup device, a different device. If for some reason I was not able, I'm using my home Wi-Fi right now, but if for some reason I couldn't, if the internet was out, my trusty little Verizon phone right here, I have a hotspot that I pay for, $30 a month. I pay for this hotspot because I work for the Center of Online Learning and I am an online instructor. I have to be connected, okay, at all times, okay? And so you should have some kind of plan. Now, I said that I would show you the Pulse app. And I will do that right now. I am going to do is I am going to get that out of the way. I'm going to stop sharing here. Give me just a second because I was able to do this earlier and I thought this was the coolest thing.
I have a question while we're on the topic of backup plans and things like that. So for one of my classes, one of the platforms, SymBio, is the way that we're doing labs. And my computer is not compatible. And when I tried to go to the school, the computers wouldn't let me download the program because I had to be an administrator in order to download anything onto the computer. So do you know what would be some of the backup options for that? I did borrow, sorry.
Okay, I thought that was me. In that case, I would go to the help desk.
A computer from a friend for like that one time.
Yes.
But I was just wondering like what really would be, or if there's like, I would have to talk to an administrator about downloading the program on a computer that I could use.
Yes, the help desk can help you with that.
Have you gone to the help desk?
I have not.
Y'all,
I would start there first.
listen to me. If you don't hear anything else from this workshop, listen to this. You pay a lot of money in technology fees.
You do.
And that money goes to the help desk. They will loan you a computer if you need one. You can take your personal computer to them and they will fix it. They can. I mean, if they have to order a part, I'm sure you have to pay for that. But if you're struggling with something like that, if you need something for a class, I mean, next time you get your invoice for your semester fees, not just the tuition, the fees, look at that line item that says technology fee. Okay, you're paying for that. Even if you have financial aid and you've got a loan, eventually, trust me, you're going to pay for it. Okay, that's what pays those people to be there for you. Okay, and if you ever have a problem with anybody at the help desk, you let me know because I am very good friends with the senior manager. We're like this. So we will get your problem straightened out, trust me. That's a really good question. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thanks.
All right, so hopefully what you can see right here is my phone. Is that what you see?
Yes.
Yay, isn't that cool? I can share this. Okay, all right, so what I'm going to show you is this Pulse app. Yeah, I have a lot going on here. And yes, I have 48,000 email messages that have not been read. You have no idea how many email messages I get, okay? But anyway, let's move on. So to get the Pulse app, I'm going to go to the App Store. And just put in, I'll just do it now, Pulse, and then D2L. Why D2L? Well, because, let's say Pulse and not Pulse. D2L is the product name of CougarView, okay? And there it comes up. It's got this little orange and then like a little, what do they call that, an EKG thing? But it's right there. You see that, Brightspace Pulse. That's part of the problem with our LMS. It's called D2L, it's called Brightspace, it's called CougarView. So, but that's it, all right? And so when you go to that, I've already downloaded it. That's why it looks like this. It's going to go through a little download. What it's going to make you do is download it, and then you're going to have to log into my CSU. That's what I had to do, username, password. And so here's my class, right? Here's the class. And so I can go through and I can look at the syllabus. How cool is this, y'all? Isn't this cool? See, I didn't even know this. I mean, I knew we had the Pulse, but I had never really messed with this very much. This is our week's work.
If I was away and I couldn't get on my laptop, can I upload my
I believe so.
board stuff here and all of that?
Yeah, I believe so. Now, understand that what you're seeing here is me as an instructor, because I don't have a student account here. But like here, what I've done here is I've put a link to the Dropbox assignment. So when I click on that, of course, it's going to make you log in as into your MyCSU. And you probably also know that CSU routinely makes you change your password to where you can never remember it. Yeah, so you're looking at it from a little bit of a different view, because these are people that, these are students that are in my class. But yes, to answer your question, yes, it would take you straight there to that Dropbox. Straight
So
to your.
that's really good. How many of you knew of that? Raise your hand. So I know. Yeah, I think I'm writing that down.
Free.
Wow.
It's free. There's no cost to you. And so, yeah, iPhone or, phone or iPad, I guess, or tablet, okay? Anything that'll put the app on. Like I said, you're looking at this from an instructor view, but give it a try. Now, I personally couldn't work a class from a phone. I need something bigger because I'm old, my eyes are bad. But if you can do it, I tell my students all the time, I don't care how you get it to me, just get it to me, so I can read it. So.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
My first question is, with this app, will it let you know when you have assignments due? Like, will it pop up as a notification on your phone?
I don't know. That's something
I
else.
just downloaded the app as you were speaking about it, and I haven't like completely looked through it, but it already has my classes on there.
Oh, very good.
And it asked if you wanted to allow notifications, so I'm sure it's like you
Alright.
can.
Okay.
You're like, boom, I'm doing it right now.
Exactly.
And then my second question was, so I have GoView for another online class, and I was wondering, can we do the grid view with the discussion board on there as well?
Yes, you should be able to.
Okay, because I know sometimes I be wanting to come. We have to come in on two people, but it's kind of getting mixed up trying to like come in under somebody who hasn't the original discussion post instead of like a reply of a reply.
Yes.
So I just be looking to be organized.
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, it has notifications right down here. Y'all see this? Y'all see it right down there? Subscriptions? Ooh. Oh. Okay. This probably things that students have given me. Upcoming, your calendar, it's there. And then your course.
Make sure you're syncing, because a lot of you need to figure out your method. Are you a handwritten calendar person or are you a digital person? For me, I keep what you call a bullet journal, and I put all my stuff in there. But for my times and places I need to be somewhere, that's strictly online, right? Because so many people send me stuff, and I'm wondering, is there a way for them to sync their assignments to their calendar?
Yes. Now, sometimes it's done at the instructor level. Other times, I think they should be able to go in and make a calendar entry. What does that do? Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
so
I just clicked on that plus sign and you can put a new event in there. But while I'm here, I also want to show you, because we're going to be talking about it in just a minute, about time management. and different tools to help you with time management, I use Google Calendar a lot. And so it comes to my phone, it's synced with my phone. It works for me. I get a notification when something happens. 10 minutes before this meeting happened, my phone dinged and said, "You got this workshop," which I already knew, but still, I like Google Calendar. It's synced in with my email. It's also synced in with Zoom and Google Meets and all that good stuff. So you may want to consider using something like that if you don't already have something. I'm gonna stop sharing this, and I'm gonna go back to my. Go ahead.
So I'm kind of old. I don't really like using Google Calendars because I could never figure it out. Is there like an app for Google Calendar or like?
Yeah, well, I mean, actually, what you were just seeing on my phone, that was the Google Calendar app.
So it was kind of like through the iPhone calendar. So how do you like set that up?
Yeah, it all syncs together. And when I say sync, it's copying. Sync is another word for copy. So when you sync your phone to your calendar or your email, it's all copying each other.
So I have like two emails. I have my personal email, and then I have my CSU email, which is kind of like all the CSU events, all the LSAMP, and then my like meeting with my mentors. Like that's kind of a separate email. So am I able to like sync both of them to one place?
Yeah, let me show you.
Are you in Google Calendar for both?
Yeah, I think so. Because I have a work one as well. I have like 3 different emails.
Oh, okay.
Let me show you something. I'm going to show you go back to my phone. And here's another reason why I have 49,000 emails down here. If I click on this, those are all my different emails. There's a personal email. There's another personal email. That's Georgia Virtual School. This is another personal email. This is Columbus State. And this is another online school. So I get it. But on your phone, you can add more than one email box. Okay. And so like that's my CSU email. And then Georgia Virtual School. And then another personal email. After, maybe not you guys because you're young, but after a while, like this Georgia Honeybee, I have been, I've had that email, gosh, since 2004 when I started teaching Georgia studies, because I named it Georgia Honeybee because the honeybee is the state insect of Georgia, but you guys didn't know that. But there you go. That's too much information. But yes, you can, to answer your question, you can put all of this on your phone. And their calendars can also show up on your calendar. There.
So if you set a specific event, I don't really know how I'm trying to.
Yeah, if you I know what you're saying. Where is it?
Would that be helpful if I got UITS, if we had a session for those?
They are really good at this. Yes, they're Google people, and
I can set that up for you so you can have a session with them.
And I'd love to be a part of it because there's so much you really just don't know. I mean, really, there is. Okay, so let me show you just a few more things, because I know I want to be cognizant of the time. We were just talking about time management. Here's a couple of tools if you're so inclined. Todoist is a, do I have that up here? Maybe no. Is a time management type tool, to-do list. Also, Microsoft has a to-do list. Then there's the Google Calendar. It's really important, though, when you are working and you have your school load, and maybe you're also working a job, and also having your family time. you know, don't multitask. And we, you know, we're so used to that. But I had to learn that when I sit down and decide to do my Georgia Virtual School work, if I'm going to grade, that's all I'm going to do is grade. I'm not going to grade and then look at email and then come back to grading and then come over here and look for some resources for next week and then go back to grading and then somebody's email. I turn my phone off because it dings every time I get an email. I turn that off, and I have to just, or, you know, focus on one thing or else it just won't get done. So in these kind of cases, sometimes it's okay to multitask, but other times you need to, you know, pull it back and don't do that. Make sure your study environment is good. Now, I have a virtual background because my office is a hot mess, but this looks really nice. This is the kind of place you want to be, somewhere serene, somewhere that's, you know, nice and you feel comfortable with. Don't be doing the games, or in my case, don't go shopping. No, stay off Amazon, stay off Zappos, okay? As far as procrastination goes, and I learned this when I was in my doctoral studies. There's a method, it's called the Pomodoro method, okay? I think the guy's name was Pomodoro. But there's a site, and I'll pull it up right here. It's called My Tomatoes. And what this does, it's free. Everything I do is free and easy, okay? You do set up an account with an email, but here's the thing. It'll chunk your time out in 30-minute increments, okay? So when you start your tomato, it starts counting down. And so, okay, you have an article that you have to read, right? So you start reading that article and you start, you know, marking it up and things like that. And you say to yourself, I'm going to do this for 25 minutes, okay? And you read that, and then it lets you log what you've done, okay, in that 25 minutes. Once it reaches the end of the 25 minutes, it'll sound an alarm, and then it even lets you take a break. It says, okay, now it's time for a break. And so you can get up, walk around, go get a snack, and come back and then say, all right, for these next 30 minutes, I'm going to do whatever it is. You would be surprised how much you can get done in just 30 minutes if you just stop and focus. No Netflix, no Amazon Prime, okay? Just My Tomatoes. And y'all, I'm going to give you guys a PDF resource page with all of this information on it. So don't worry about feverishly trying to write things down. What else? Working online, you know, in addition to staying focused, it's important that you avoid isolation, because that can just bring you down into a black hole, and then you're not being, you know, interacting with people. And so your classmates are your greatest resource. Like I said, Ms. Williams and we've known each other for a very long time, good 4 years, I think. Not 5. Honestly, you know, when we were taking statistics,
Oh my God.
oh my God. I probably would not, I know I wouldn't have gotten out of it without her and Ms. Young, another.
Without her.
But that's what we're here for, right? That's, you know, to bounce off of each other and say, well, how'd you do it? And help me. And, you know, take up for each other. Your classmates are really your greatest resource. They'll keep you on track, let you know when things are due. It's important for you to stay active in your class. Like I said before, log into that class Cougar View every day. See if there's a new announcement. Pay attention to your emails. You have things here with LSAMP. There's the meetup. Go to those. A network. Get to know people. You know, introduce yourself. You never know when you're going to need somebody later on in life. And there you will have formed these relationships, and they're so important. If your instructor has office hours, go to them. Talk to them. They're people, okay? And I really will say, I believe most of the faculty, at least the faculty that I've worked with, you know, nobody's in this game to fail you. That's not our mission in life. As a teacher, that's not, I don't want that. I don't want any of my students to fail. It's a two-way street. I got to do what I'm supposed to do. You got to do what you're supposed to do. But if a student comes to me and says, look, this is the thing. This is what's going on. And it's so much better to talk about a problem before something is due than after the fact. Oh, this thing, yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so this is what was going on at the time. Okay, I'm not going to be as sympathetic to that. I'm really not, okay? So talk to your professors, get to know them, go to their office hours. The only other thing I wanted to show you, there's a couple of other things I want to show you. One is Treelio. Now, I'll admit, I have not used this, but what this is, it's a free tool, and it allows you to document, it's like a, it allows you to prioritize projects and prioritize document steps of a project. I was looking at it earlier today, and it looks really cool. This may be something, in your project could be a business launch, like you see here, or it could just be a vacation, you know. But as you look here, it gives you kind of like a background, and then you start adding these lists of things, and you can add people to this as well. You know, if you have a group project, maybe you want to use this tool. So you add these, what they call cards, things to do, things you are doing, things that have been done. It allows you to kind of visualize the workflow of a project. And then as you add things to these, what they call cards, these tasks to cards, then you can also move them as things are completed. So once things are done, then you can move them over to whatever category they need to be in. I thought it was pretty cool. You know, you have to kind of watch out as far as, you know, learning too many different tools at one time, but this one seems like it's pretty good. Another thing that I wanted to show you real quick, because I know we're running out of time. I don't want to, you know, take up all the time with me talking. I want you to ask questions if you would like to. How many of you have looked at research articles online? You know, you pull it up because go to Galileo or whatever, you get this research articles, and then you take your pencil and your pad and you're trying to write down all the important information. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just open up a new browser tab and then start typing in information that you find, and then save this, and then you have this web page with all of your stuff on it from this research article or this presentation that you watched. I'm going to show you how you can do this. Let me see if I can pull up I have it on the flyer that I made for you guys. Give me 1 second. In fact, Ms. Williams, let me stop sharing this real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to email this flyer to you so you can email it to them. I'm sorry?
The one that you created?
This is a new one that I created. It is in fact, maybe I can see if I can share it. That would be good. Hold on. Yay, there it is, Yay, okay. So this is it's a PDF. And it kind of goes over everything that we talked about today. And these are links, these are hot links, so you can kind of just keep this tucked away somewhere. Here's a link to the starter guide, your 6 C's of communication. Here are some of these different tools. These are all links to this: Google Calendar, Microsoft. These writing tools, first of all, you know, just make sure you know what your instructor is wanting from you as far as writing. But there's the Purdue Online Writing, the OWL Lab, which is really good. Also, CSU has a writing lab. So also you can, and that's another thing that your fees go towards. So use the things that are here. Evernote, if you've ever used this, it's a note-taking software. Here's that Treelio, that project tool that I was talking about. Here are the instructions on how to take notes in a browser. So what you would do is you would open up your article in one browser window and then open up another browser window, type in this data, DATA, colon, text, all of this right here, and it will allow you to type, add images to this page. You can save it, and then you can open it up again. It's really cool. I wish I had this when I was going through my doctoral studies, because we have all these research articles that make up our Lit Review, and they're just sitting in a file now because I printed them all off. I just wasted so much money. And here's also the My Tomatoes. These two right here, these two tools, and the Pulse app. Now I couldn't link anything to the Pulse app because you get that from the App Store. But I'm going to send this flyer to Ms. Williams so she can turn around and give it to you guys. These are just the different things that we went over today. It's already 4:20. I've only given you 10 minutes to ask questions or talk about takeaways. What are you going to take away from today's session?
Great question.
I really like the My Tomato, because I know I can get distracted so easy by little things and hearing an email pop up on my phone. So I think I would just be able to turn my phone off and then use the My Tomatoes to keep me on a timely manage, to keep my time going, because I get distracted very, very easy. So I feel like that'd be helpful.
Me too. Last weekend was the worst because it was Labor Day and it was just like I was playing it in front of Netflix. But if you think about it, you think to yourself, okay, I really want to be here binge watching something on Netflix, but what's 30 minutes? I can give 30 minutes to this. So you get up, you go, you log into My Tomatoes, you do whatever you want to do for 30 minutes. And, you've accomplished something. And then one thing might lead to something else. So My Tomatoes was really good for me too. Same reason. Anybody else?
Yes, me, Alexandria. I really like the app. I've been at Columbus State for 3 years and didn't have a clue that it was an app. So it's kind of like, darn, I wish I would have known this, because then I could have got notifications on my phone to know when things were coming up instead of having to find a computer. Because, even with my CSU is not compatible with every device. So a computer is best to have it on to view it the correct way. So having an app, I'm going to use this until I graduate. So.
And you bring up a really good point, because y'all, if you are using Cougar View, use Chrome or Firefox. No Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer and Cougar View do not get along. Bad. Okay? If you're having problems in Cougar View, like your quizzes are freezing up or you can't upload something, first thing you should check is your browser. If it's Internet Explorer or now what they're calling Edge, get out, switch, go to Chrome or Firefox.
Very good.
I have a question about the Pulse app. Can you view your grades in the app, or is it just strictly like content?
No, I think they have the grades too. Let me check real quick. I'm pretty sure you could view everything that's, let's see, everything that's in your course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hold on a second. How do I do this? There we go. Stop sharing this. And I'm going to do this. Let me, right here. Here. Oh. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to be doing this now in every Zoom session that I have, now that I've discovered that I can. So here I am. And just like you do anything in your course, I can launch the course homepage. See, yeah, that takes you straight to the web version. There you go. Yeah. Wait a minute. I can't show you that because I'm in as an instructor and that pull up all my students' grades. But yes, you can do that. It looks like you can.
Thank you.
Definitely be a violation, a FERPA violation. Anybody else?
For me, one of the key takeaways is when you said like don't multitask, because I tend to try to do that because I just feel as though trying to do so many things, I could get everything done like quicker, but honestly, it takes me much longer.
I know that I'm coming to this from an instructor's point of view, but that was just, it completely changed the way I did anything. When I get ready to answer emails, that's all I'm doing is I'm answering emails from students. I'm not turning around. And it's really hard for me because sometimes students are asking me emails about their assignment. So I tend to want to have to go and I check on their assignment and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me go ahead and grade this quiz too. And let me go ahead. And then next thing you know, I don't ever go back to the emails. So yeah, one thing at a time.
Is there anything with, you know, your classes that you all are having questions about? You know, that how to do it and you know, just trying to communicate or anything with peer review, any problems that you're having? Not necessarily negative on the professor, but just like technical.
Oh, I have one. Okay, so all right, how can I word this? Okay, so for one of my classes, I previously just had to take an exam. I feel like I did well on it, but the amount of time and me personally, I feel like it's a lot of essay questions. And even if you study and know stuff off the top of your head, it's still kind of like you're typing like at lightning speed, trying to get it in. So I don't know how to approach my professor in the most respectful way to ask like, hey, is there a way that you could maybe add like an extra minute or like 2 minutes just to get the things typed down? Because, you know, I'm not a fast typer. You know, I have to get it out. So I don't know what's the best way to approach him.
And you know what I would do in that situation? I don't think there's anything wrong with asking. Okay.
Just that.
Yeah. Can we have, but also don't just go with the problem, go with the solution. Say to your professor, I'm not very fast at typing, but I'm working on that because I have the thoughts in my head. They just got to get down to my fingers. So I am working and practicing how to type faster. But for this class, could we get another 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes? I mean, who knows? He or she, you know, may actually, you know, may do it. And if they do, you know, then you'll be better for it. Also, you know, don't be afraid to go to the Center of Accommodations and Access and ask and say, you know what, I feel like I need extra time on tests and quizzes. It doesn't, you know, that's like I said before, most students who have, not saying that you have a disability, but most students actually have disabilities and they don't self-identify. For whatever reason, they feel like, well, if I go, then people won't think I'm ready to go to college or something like that. And really, nothing could be further from the truth. I don't think that way. When I get the email from Accommodations and Access and they say, well, so-and-so needs extra time to take this test, I'm more than happy. I'm glad I know. So, and I also reach out to that student and I say, you know, if it's not, if what I'm giving you, you're having trouble seeing or hearing or learning, you know, reach out to me. Because as teachers, we want our students to be able to understand what we're saying to them, what the kind of content we're delivering to them. So, and I think most people feel that way.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it did help.
Okay.
It helped.
Good. Anybody else?
Oh yeah. One of my key takeaways would be to avoid isolation, and share with others. Because usually when I do my schoolwork, I usually just tend to stick by myself and like rely on myself to do it, and I don't think that's really helpful for me to just be isolated like.
You know, and you're
that.
absolutely
So
right.
I feel like I should start reaching out more.
Well, here's the reason it is important. One of your classmates here may one day go and be a director at a Fortune 500 company that you want to get a job with, right? And then you'll see their name listed and you're like, hey, wait a minute, I already know this person. Maybe I can slip my resume in there, just call and say, hey, what's been going on, you know? But, you know, networking, and I hate to say it this way, but it's the truth. You know, we hope that people look at our resumes or our CVs and say, okay, they're fully qualified and that's the best person for the job. But what really, they do look for that, but also people want to see a good fit for a position. And if people know you and know who you are and know what your character is and know what kind of person you are, you're going to rack up some references, you know, some character references, and you're going to get to know people. So where maybe they get your resume and they're like, oh, I know this person. That just happened to me yesterday. Somebody asked me if I knew someone, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know them. Great guy. You know, I have a 20-year history with this person. That's networking. You may be stepping out of your comfort zone, but don't forget about the meetups, you know, in situations like this. And even being here today, you know, it's really good that, you know, you're kind of stepping out. And the more you do that, the easier it will become for you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Kimberly. I'll call her Kim. Stokes. We appreciate your time. And guys, I'm going to send you something for your office hours next week where we talk about some of the takeaways and something that you may want to know. If there's something that you want me to connect you with her, if you have additional questions, one of my takeaways is that we want to follow this series up and kind of go over Google and maybe the Drive and the calendar, and just kind of figure all of that whole system out to make sure we feel comfortable. And it sounds like Dr. Stokes is going to join us as an honorary scholar during that session. So I will reach out to UITS next week to do that. But I definitely going to send you what she sent to me. I'll send it out to you all. Remember that this is just the beginning of our series. And if you have questions or if anything you want to follow up on, please feel free to do so. And then we will send information out to you all next week. But if not, then everybody take your Zooms off of mute. Let's give Dr. Stokes a round of applause, please. A round of applause. I see.
Well, y'all, I just tell you, I have just had a ball here today, and I probably, you know, when you get me going, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna send y'all this flyer that I made for you, and I'll let Ms. Williams, y'all, if you ever need my help with anything, please reach out to me, and I mean that. You know, no questions too weird or too small or too big. You know, I want to help you. I know a lot of people here at CSU. I don't have a lot of power, but I know I'll pick up the phone and call somebody for you. I don't mind. But I'm going to send this flyer to y'all, and I really have had a good time. I hope I did what you wanted me to do, Ms. Williams.
You did a great job, and we'll send that flyer out to everybody, and then we will make sure that we continue our resources. So thank you all. Have a dynamic weekend, and I look forward to speaking and seeing some of you next week. All right? Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.